right. Welcome everyone to week 4 of the Can-Am Season 10 Tier 3 season schedule, whatever you want to call it. Takes us to the Netherlands, which, if I'm correct, is off the calendar in 2026. So, farewell to the Dutch crowd, farewell to the Orange Army, and hopefully we'll be doing justice to it by holding a sprint here. Not Netherlands reverse, but it will be a sprint race here in the Netherlands, week 4. We've had 2 sprint races already in the first 4 weeks to cause as much chaos as possible, and to also cause as much chaos as possible, we've got a full grid tonight in Tier 3, so let's go through who will be driving. Notabot is in the McLaren, Panda in the Mercedes, Zeiser in the Alpine, Frenchie, who's a new full-time driver now, as Caden has retired for the Racing Bulls, Blackout as well, NASCAR in the Red Bull, Eli in the McLaren, Cabrito going out on track in the Aston Martin, Dr. B in the Williams, everyone's coming out, Henry in the Kick, Toasty reserving in the Kick, Cobble, or I don't know, Cobb K, we can just call him Cobb, I guess, and ask for forgiveness. He's reserving in the Ferrari, Cobble or Cobb. No L in the name, so I'm just going to call him Cobb. Mini C in the Alpine. Diner coming out looking like he is lagging in the Haas. Joseph in the Haas. Golden in the Williams. Jonah in the Mercedes. Bala in the Aston. Fate F4 in the Red Bull. And Boss in the Ferrari. Jeez. Already look like they're racing. Let's see who's out there first. It looks like a Williams. It's not going to be Doctor. It's going to be... No, not Golden either. It's a Racing Bulls. There it is. Frenchie, the first lap around here. Let's ride on board with Frenchie. So down into turn 1 here. Can brake quite late. Hold third gear around, not as tight as you'd normally want to be. Drift out, and Cobb quickly exits the session as he is disqualified for blocking in the pit lane. How wonderful. You can dive inside or go outside around that banking corner. Fly down this, now no DRS. Downshift once and basically hold your car through, open it up. Oh my goodness, a little bit of lag again, but now kind of a blind corner. Pick your braking spot, slow the car down into third. Now another one where it's so hard to time this exit. Frenchie stays safe off that exit curb, using all the track, and now a little bit of a chicane where there's a bit of a sausage curb there that you can cut pretty easily. And then go back around to the left. Now 2 fast right-handers, and this one's banked all the way through. Moved the DRS zone, but used to be after this banking corner. Now they made it extremely dangerous and put it before, as Frenchie goes provisional pole with a 1:11.2. Not about going to be one of the first finishers as well. Bala bests that by 7 tenths. Mini C goes in 11.001. Can't find the 10s. Henry with a 1:11.2. Not about on medium tires is going to be last. Joseph with a 1:10.04 in provisional pole. Holy, not about almost flying into the gravel trying to get out of the way. Panda crest line in a 12.3. Using the medium tires here, as we see it's a trick to get out of the way for the incoming cars. Zeiser coming to the line here. Eli goes P2, Zeiser P9 in the middle of the field here. Here's Blackout. He is beginner from what I've heard in F1 games, so getting better and better each week. Started a little rough in week 1, but looked a little better in week 2. Just looking to stay with the pack in some of these races, and it's a tough thing to do in a 50% race to be that consistent. It just takes a lot of time, so we're here. It took Cabrito a full Can-Am season before he got a point, so I'm sure some chaos can happen that will allow Blackout to find his way into the points. Might not even need chaos. P9 with a 111.4. That would be his best qualifying position. Someone shifted up into there, whether it was NASCAR Toasty around the 4th or 5th, not sure. Doctor going through the Sector 1 here, coming through Sector 2. And Diner goes a 109.8 on medium tires. Oh my goodness. This man is going ballistic in Tier 3. And we'll see if Jonah can put up a time, or anyone for that matter can put up a time to rival him. Everyone else on the mediums has not been nearly that high. And Doctor, once again, going to prove that, coming in nearly last. Cabrito down the road a bit more. We'll go on board with him. Oh, and we'll also pull up the tires that everyone's done their laps on. So there it is. Their laps have been run. I guess some medium runners. I don't know if Bala's lap was on the mediums, or if that's just his current tire that he fitted. Yeah, I think it is current tire. Henry and Toasty looking for a good result for the kick. Sauber team, but also Haas sitting P1 and P2 right now. What a start to this weekend that would be for them. We've only got about 5 more minutes to go in the session. 3 drivers that have not done a lap so far. There's a lap that I missed. Boss into 12th. I never saw him get a lap in. Doctor goes P2 on the medium tires, so maybe just needing a warm-up lap on them. Cabrito coming across the line. Looks like it's going to be a decent time, and yeah, it is 9th. Puts him right in the middle of the field here. Oh, and Zeiser into the gravel there. Slowing his car down to get out of the way. Fate just starting his lap, and he has gravel on his tire. That is not a good look. Purple Sector 1, but don't know how realistic that is. Haven't really been paying attention to sector times, but so far the lap has looked good. I mean, the car just looks to be wiggling like crazy. Left, right, left, right, left, right, like down the straights. Look at it. Is this most average controller micro adjustment? It's what it seems like. It's just these incremental wiggles that you could probably never do on a wheel, but who knows? Maybe it's max sensitivity. I mean, oh my goodness. Hits the wall coming through and almost goes into the front row. Only separated by a 10th out at the top. Let's go find someone else here to watch. Joseph maybe improve, but I think all eyes should be on Formula Jonah here. And Diner on an out lap. He is coming out on the soft, so he will likely improve his lap. Jonah just going for 1 lap on the softs. Maybe going to be able to slow down and go for another one, but he would probably need a tire change either way. So not really going to make a difference here. needs this lap to stick. A little wide here. Oh, using all the curb there and just getting off for the grass. Now touching the grass a little bit. Coming through an important section where you need to carry speed. Hugs the corner to the line. It is fourth. And Haas looking to improve, and Joseph takes pole. Diner coming through. Massive improvement through Sector 2. Is the track really, is there this much track evolution, or is today the day of absolute Haas dominance? As a 109.2, Diner takes pole, provisional pole by 3/10 from his teammate, who's 5/10 up off third. So right now, I mean, no one's standing a chance against the Haas pair. And Zeiser is in the gravel again. Panda may have a chance. We've seen him towards the top of the field in Coda. Jonah might be trying to get another lap. But I'm not sure if the soft tires are going to be ready to go. I'm really just not sure who is going to be able to challenge the Haas pair right now at the top. No one has came very close, but Panda's starting his lap. There's a Mercedes that looks like he's full stopped on the track, and yeah, that would be Jonah. Oh, and Notabot obliterating a braking sign there. See what he can put up. He's down on his time in Sector 1 is what it looked like. Down a full second. So 1:11.4 would move him up around the 15 range. Would like to be about a second and a half faster. Could get him up to about 13th. To the line, and now the session's officially done. Notabot in 12th. A lot of people not getting this hero lap. NASCAR, I think, just went... Oh, no, that was Jonah, or I don't know. I think it was NASCAR who jumped to P3. Fate, P6, Golden, P10. Eli down in his time, but out on mediums. Oh, Panda going 8th. That was also a shift in the board. Eli coming to line on medium tires. He stays put. Someone just jumped. I think that may have been Boss or Bala. Doctor splits the Haas pair. Gets on the front row towards the last second. And Toasty ahead of Doctor by only a couple hundredths, but still 2/10 off Diner's provisional pole time, and Jonah has invalidated his lap, going across the finish line and end this sprint qualifying session. Again, only the top 8 score here, so important to get a good qualifying position, obviously, if not already important for it being the Netherlands. There are your results. Have not seen much from Cobb, as he was disqualified early on, so we'll see what he can do out of last. But the Haas team in first and fourth. Kick also having 2 people making quote-unquote Q3, as well as Red Bull. So a lot of teams with some strong showings. McLaren down here, the V-Carb team in 17th and 18th, and Zeiser, every time I got the camera on him, he was in the gravel. So not a great result, but a long way to go, and this was not the feature race, so not very much risk going into that session. And now the sprint race, where people will be able to send and just go at it, and we'll see who wants to be more aggressive and who is maybe just getting a feel for racing here and trying to find their groove before the feature race. But I would assume most drivers trying to nab some points, and we'll see how the drivers from the back of the field can do. It's not an easy track to overtake per se, but there could definitely be chaos towards the front. This is a circuit known for, just punishing small mistakes. And if you basically try and make an overtake anywhere else in the circuit aside from the front straight, it likely ends in disaster. Don't have enough time on the back straight unless you get a really good run out of that long corner. And then it's not clear whether you should go to the inside or the outside. I mean, the inside's definitely easier, but then you have to trust the person that you're racing to actually give you room on the outside. So aside from this main drag here, which Doctor is going to look to get a run on in turn 1, or Toasty is going to look to get a run. Some could argue that starting on the inside is the better position here, but we will truly see as let's see what tires everyone has put on. Everyone on the mediums, Panda on the hards. It worked out for him in the last sprint race in Coda. The hards started to warm up and get better and didn't really lose much pace. Notabot and Frenchie agreeing on the hard strategy. Everyone else on the medium tires will throw the position changed up. But quite the showing here for the Haas team. First and fourth. It's been an up and down weeks for them. The highs have been high, the lows have been low. If I'm not mistaken, a double DNF in Baku. If I'm not mistaken. I should probably look that up. I was not here last week, so I really don't know who is racing what even happened. Oh, it was not a double DNF. But there was 8 drivers that did DNF. So it wasn't a bad guess. Yeah, Jonah P8 and Diner P19 with a DNF. In the standings right now, Diner is in the lead only by 4 points to Doctor and Jonah. And then Haas leading the constructors only by 6 points. So it could be a big weekend for them. Big weekend for teams to catch up, as Mercedes is right there behind, and then Williams is a little bit further behind. So here we go in the Netherlands. And the drivers are underway. Looks like Diner does get a good start and protects the outside. Toasty comes right behind him. Everyone looking like they're doing all right. There's an Alpine. A little bit of contact there, but everyone making it through. Is Joseph trying to make a move, and McLaren just slammed someone into the grass. Oh! And Eli has retired from the session there. Oh my goodness, what did we just see? And is it going to be a safety car? No, that's fine. Cobb is up a ton of places here, wheel-to-wheel racing everywhere. Doctor and NASCAR going at it here as we look at the positions change for the first time. Cabrito up 6 places and someone's dead. Another Alpine, I'm pretty sure. Mini-C off the track, and there's pieces of cars and braking signs everywhere. Panda down the field, down 6 and 8 places for him. Golden down 8 places. Doctor down 3. Jonah up 2. Joseph up 2. NASCAR staying put so far, and Cabrito and Notabot getting up the field, up 8 and 6 places respectively. Henry staying put. with all the chaos that's happened, Henry keeping his position quite impressive, and now it looks like someone else has died again. Mini C all the way down to the bottom, and someone ducks into the pits. Bala down 6 spots into the pits after such a strong start to the season. Hasn't been able to replicate the performance in Canada where he was able to win the first race. We have another caution in Sector 1. Not sure who it was. Cars are going again. Looks like everyone is moving. And yeah, not sure what happened there, but everyone's starting to fan out a little bit. Diner already has broken DRS, and Joseph battling here with Toasty, looking to keep close and keep the Haas 1-2 a possibility. But again, this is just the sprint race here, so not the max amount of points just yet. Let's get a reminder of what tires everyone's on. Top 9 all on mediums, so it doesn't necessarily really matter. And we've got an overtake here. Joseph getting by Toasty in the top 2, and now might play the team game to back him up a little bit, give Diner some breathing room, but Jonah is going to want to get through and keep battling as best he can. Already a 2.5 seconds away from NASCAR, who's starting his own DRS train, holding off Doctor and Fate, and Jonah is retired from the session. I'm pretty sure I missed wherever he went off. I have no idea what happened, but yeah, there's his car in the wall. How is there no safety car? The car was like 2 inches off the track. And Joseph, oh no, Diner has made a huge mistake. Is down into 12th. Joseph is leading this race with Toasty behind. A nice helicopter angle coming into the DRS zone, and we're going to see Toasty rev that engine up and absolutely send a move down the inside. Should be able to do it, but Joseph is staying there. And he does get the move done. Why do I get ads as a mod? Because VIPs are the only ones that don't get ads, I'm pretty sure. So Panda battling in the midfield. Diner trying to get back to where he was. There's a bit of a battle here. Oh my goodness. Contact between Cabrito and Feta 4. Still side by side. Cabrito gets the tires on the grass, and now still side by side, and Fate has to just stay behind for right now. And there is Henry in the background. What happened to Eli? He was the first one dead immediately. I don't think he even made it a lap. I think there was a bit of contact. Probably on both these DNFs. Not sure what happened to Jonah either. But battles going on everywhere. Toasty trying to establish a gap. Doctor has already kind of lost the front 2. It's a 2-horse battle, but I say that Diner went from 1st to 12th straight out of the lead, and now is back up to 10th. Cabrito hanging it around the outside, but cannot hold the place. Is he going to look for a move here? Absolute madman trying to overtake absolutely everywhere on the track. And there is the tight bunch around them as they go through this Sector 1. Boss with a quiet race. He's worked himself up 1 place out of the points here. Diner behind him, though, is trying to get back up through the field, so we'll see how much of a defense he can have. Bala and Cobble on the very back of the field here. Cobble with a disqualification in qualifying, and now is hanging around the back of the pack here. As Diner gets the move done pretty quickly on Boss and has made his way back up into 9th. And what in the world happened here? Cabrito off into the gravel for a little bit, and Henry gets by him. So Fate is leading this crazy DRS train behind him. Joseph still on the back of Toasty, and someone's falling through. Henry had a moment, and Notabot maybe going for a move on Cabrito. They both have DRS. Here's Diner. He decides there's too much chaos in front of him. He doesn't even want to try a move. Notabot, oh my goodness, maybe squeezing Cabrito nearly off the track. But getting the move done, more importantly, Diner tries around the outside and gets a little kiss from the Aston Martin. Rubbin is racing there. Did not establish a line and booted out of the way. This is an absolute disaster for the Mercedes team, who is poised to challenge Haas here for possibly the lead. But with Haas making the first mistake, well, I think it was Jonah DNFing and then Diner making that mistake. So working out, but Joseph really holding it down for the Haas team currently, and the Red Bull team as well in 4th and 5th with decent gaps as well. And Doctor has quietly worked his way back up into the top 2. It was a two-horse race here for the win, but all of a sudden Doctor right up here as Frenchie gets a move, and Henry basically nukes his own race with a 10-second speeding in the pit lane penalty. Cabal and Bala absolutely battling for 17th place. And Henry, yes, has retired from the session. Not surprising there. 10-second penalty is not very recoverable here. So Joseph in P2. Doctor has made his way to the back of the pack in P3. We'll ride on board with Doctor and see what it looks like going into turn 1 with the Williams driver with a full battery, taking a little too much curb on both of those corners. Now it's going to be hard for him to get out of this corner, now losing the top 2. And Joseph closing in, now eating that inside curb, and that's not what you want to do in any of those corners. Joseph getting closer. Which way is he going to go? Dummies a little bit to the outside, goes inside, and a bit of contact there with Toasty. Keeps the spot and really allows Doctor to still stay in this battle, as he gave up almost the DRS with how many mistakes he had. And Diner is now back around trying to battle up positions up through the field, and now it looks like, oh my goodness, comes back, unghosts, and practically unsafe rejoins right into Mini C. Alongside him, Mini C just going to slot back behind him. Doesn't have the speed after recovering here. The Racing Bulls in 10th and 11th looking for some points. Boss as well, but really they need to catch up to this train or need someone to do something. And Cabrito and Notabot, they might be ones to be tangoing here and to make something unexpected happen. But now let's ride on board with Doctor through the start-finish straight. Not making much of a move. Joseph trying to drive in Toasty's mirrors, but he did not fall for it. And all these drivers come out of the DRS zone closer together now. See the line everyone takes. Doctor down to the inside. Joseph riding around the outside, and he is going to have more exit speed. Something happened here towards the midfield. Not sure what happened. Now the V-Car, or the Racing Bulls are split. Boss now falling into 10th. Panda up into 6th as well. The hard tire starting to come alive, but he does have quite a bit of a gap to file away at here. And you can just see on the mini-map here, the top 3 clumped together in NASCAR, trying to make it 4. And then that one DRS train really quite a ways off. And that is for the last 2 points there, as Joseph goes really deep but doesn't lose that much time. And we're right on board with him this time. As Toasty does get a good jump into the start-finish straight once again. Joseph, how desperate is he going to be? Locks it up. ABS definitely saving him there. and stays put as Fate F4 loses a spot to Panda. And maybe I'm underestimating these hard tires. I thought he was about 2 seconds behind. So we'll keep an eye on that gap. 5.8 seconds. I don't think there's any way he makes up any more places. But so far he's been surprising me by even catching up to that place that quickly. Frenchie and Notabot, 9th and 8th. A bit of a gap has fanned out now, so Cabrito and Notabot running away with the final 2 points positions in the sprint. But we will see how it all pans out. Top 3 now fanning out a bit. 6/10 pretty much between the 3 of them. We'll see can Toasty hang on. Another straight. Joseph gaining, but nothing happening. And look how close NASCAR is in the rear view mirror here. Get a better look out of it in Doctor's view. NASCAR has joined the party. He's got 2 laps. Can he make his way through the front runners that have been up here pretty much the entire second half of the race? Jonah and Diner were a part of this battle, and they have both fallen off. One DNF'd, the other one completely out of the points, trying to battle his way back in. It's not happening as Diner has made another mistake. Is the driver stopped on track, getting passed by the Alpine, and that is likely going to be a day. But look at NASCAR, how quickly he has come up to the field, and he's going to have 1 lap to somehow heroically try and get a podium or possibly a top 2. Oh my goodness! How is Doctor's car still running? Absolutely turned it straight into the wall. How does it not have damage? Oh, and Toasty's around, and NASCAR. Through goes NASCAR into first. I can't believe it. He needed a miracle, and he got a miracle. NASCAR has not led a lap in the sprint race, hasn't even had a lap in the top 3, and all of a sudden after turn 1, he's in first with Doctor following him after what looked to be a catastrophic mistake, has held second. Toasty all the way down out of the points to Frenchie snagging a point now in 8th. Joseph out of the DRS here. One more DRS zone for Doctor that he's likely able to make a move on, really. As long as NASCAR can get a good jump to the start-finish line, then he should be able to take it home. But it looks like Doctor is going to make this a close race. We'll see the exit out of here. It looks like NASCAR gets a good exit. And Doctor, oh my goodness, Doctor rides the curb straight into the wall again. But NASCAR wins the sprint race somehow, some way, from 4th to 1st on the last lap. Joseph ends P2. Quite the circus way to go from P2 to P2 in the final lap. Doctor P3. Panda works his way back up into P4. The hard strategy coming around for the Mercedes driver. Fate F4 in 5th. The Red Bull team, a great double points finish. What they needed out of this session. Notabot in P6. The hards once again working out for him. Cabrito in 7th. And Frenchie scoring the last point out of the sprint session. Making sure that the hard runners are well represented in this session, all scoring points. Making their way through the field here. What a final lap we had here. I cannot explain what happened between the top couple drivers, but it allowed NASCAR to get through and win the sprint race here in the Netherlands. Haas looked poised to dominate, and still good finish for them. 7 points from Joseph, but Diner looking to battle for the drivers, and with Dr. B, with that finish, puts him in the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Jonah was also the same distance behind and will not be impacted, so Jonah quite thankful that the session went the way it did. Diner not scoring, and Dr. B jumping. What a turn of events. This is why you race till the very last lap, till the very end. There was no way that NASCAR was winning that race at the start of the last lap, and what do you know? Finishes the last lap in first, and now the piece before the feature race, as we have 20 drivers back in their garages, 18 minutes to go set the fastest qualifying time, decompress a little bit after the sprint race. So Joseph should jump and be very close to Bala, battling for 4th place. Doctor, with those 6 points, jumps 2 points ahead of Diner, who would flip. Panda also staying with Joseph here, staying in 6th. Henry with the DNF is going to stay 7th. Nemesis and Zeiser staying put. Golden, and then Cabrito making it a bit closer. And no one else really notable. Not about scoring his first points of the season in that sprint race. NASCAR scoring his first points of the season by winning the sprint race. So quite an emphatic way to get yourself on the board. And with the constructors, don't think anything shifted too much here. Racing Bulls did get their first point, so every constructor now has 1 point in the championship. And everyone battling it out in their respective positions here. Like I said, Haas on top with the Mercedes team in 2nd. Haas gaining a bit on them. Williams in 3rd. Again, still hanging around here. But the team that won and the team that finished well in 6th in Red Bull might move their way up to constructors if they can replicate what just happened. We can stop looking at the pit lane here. We can start being a good commentator and go find someone to ride on board with. But wow, what an exciting first group here. First couple of laps. Oh my goodness. Okay, Henry just on an in lap. Just looked up, saw him in the grass. Eli coming to the line. 110.0. Just behind Diner. And the Haas team basically looking like a replay of the first session, up there in 1st and 3rd. Jonah up to 4th. Someone was cutting the curb. NASCAR in the chat said that was crazy from his POV. I can imagine. I didn't catch it all, but it looked crazy from the broadcast view. Doctor to the line, P9. Is Cobble going to be able to race? We will see. He is 10th. Was a little worried about a reserve signing up that I had no idea about, but seems like he is signed up for the correct tier and is not competitively unbalanced, which is always good to see from the reserves. Not about to the line in a 110. Oh, very close battle between 2nd and 5th, all within 300ths. Even Henry only a 10th away. But everyone grouped together very close. The nerves have worn off. Everyone practiced up from that early session. Now here's Boss, finishing just outside the points in the sprint race. Cutting a bit of the curb there, correcting it. Now DRS after riding a little bit of that curb. And that inside curb really throwing your car, and yeah, now inside curb throwing his car, and then the outside curb throwing his car, getting passed by Williams, who Tokyo drifts in front of him. And now he's going to get a slipstream to the line. A 112 as Golden goes a 110.7. They get out of the way for the drivers behind. Here's Frenchie slamming the wall before his lap starts. Taking a lot of curve here. Making it through. Okay, let's see what his Sector 1 time is. 24.6. Not sure if that's good or bad. See what place he is coming across the line here, as NASCAR has made his way up towards the top and also back into the battle. 300 separating 2nd to 6th. This feels like real F1. Usually it's 3 seconds, not 300ths. Frenchie P15. And Zeiser, get out of the gravel. Every time I see him. Oh my goodness. Blackout, losing the rear there. Easy corner to lock up. You definitely have to be easy on the brakes there. A lot of corners in Netherlands, especially in Sector 2, you just have to open it up. You can't be hard on the brakes. You've just got to slowly brake in there. What do you mean 11? Is Tier 2 raining, Dave? Don't even get me started. You moron. I was kind of hoping for a rainy session here, but nothing yet. Toasty, the only driver without a time here. NASCAR to the line, looking to get out of that clump, and thought he was going to pit. Goes provisional pole, so following up a sprint victory with provisional pole as Ferrari mows the gravel there. Let's see if his teammate can really step it up. Bala has joined the party towards the top. Still under a tenth between third and seventh. Diner coming back out. I mean, we've still got 7 minutes to go, so no rush for these drivers, really. Golden across the line. Terrible. +2. Fate F4 was towards the top of the grid last qualifying session. We'll see what he can do to get himself out of 16th. Cabrito now cracking the 110s open. 109.9 into third. Joseph responds by putting himself into third, cracking the 110s. Fate F4 gets himself up into 11th. Seems like this session overall has been a bit slower than the sprint qualifying. Not sure why that is. Doctor looking to improve. Looks like he will. Up into third. And now a lot of drivers starting to crack the 110s. Everyone was really tight bunch, but now used to be from second to sixth. Now it's 6th to 9th. And even 11th to 13th is right there. So far, the Haas pair once again still, both of them in the top 4. McLaren also looking good, both of them in the top 8. I really am surprised. I know Panda had talked a lot before the season about him being in first and it being a mistake that teams didn't draft him before they did, and so far he scored a couple points, but hasn't been anything too eye-popping yet. We'll see how the rookie develops as the season goes on. Eli to the line. He's been more of an eye-popping rookie. That's a P3 from him, putting himself between the Haas pair and just above Doctor. We're going to start seeing drivers come out for their last laps. Toasty still has not done a lap. NASCAR down on his time. Now I'm thinking the track might be evolving. So I think it might be a case of whoever gets the last little bit of the last lap, but we'll see. NASCAR down on his time in Sector 1. See if he's still down on his time in Sector 2. It looks like he's doing a good lap. Pretty much mirrors the Sector 2 from his provisional pole lap. Good exit there. Oh yes, that is a great exit to towards the finish line. Let's see what he can do. Yeah, 109.4, 2.5 tenth improvement. Yeah, that was a good Sector 3. You can definitely tell. Eli going for another lap here, taking a lot of curb. That is a curve you never want to touch. But we'll see if that pays off for him. We'll see whether his Sector 1, well, just a little bit worse. Would have expected a lot worse after touching that curb. It's probably the easiest curb to avoid on the calendar, but still managed to dive straight into it. Henry looking into 10th, Mini-C in 11th. Down the order, the Ferraris in 16th. They're 17th. Someone looking to jump a bit of the field, but they've got to drop a bit of time here, about 4 tenths to get up towards the top 10. But as we saw in the sprint race, anything can happen. And is it starting? It's starting to dim. Is it starting to? Are we maybe going to see rain? Are we maybe going to see rain in the race? Who knows? It starts to dim at the end of qualifying, and then, you know, watch it be bright and sunny. Jonah was down on his time and then just drove straight through the gravel. So I think just screwed up his braking point there. But was 4 tenths down and slams into the wall for good measure. Still no damage somehow. I know damage is on, so there's no way he is gaining any time down the straight. Probably lost a good 2-3 tenths. NASCAR has called it a session. A minute to go. Eli will have to call it a session. Any driver in the pits, Zeiser will have to call it a session. Toasty better get around. He's going to have 1 lap, and he's going to make it a hero lap. His time will expire as he is going out. Mini-C, I didn't even see that. Mini-C in the top 3. I was going to say Alpine needing a result here, and Mini-C giving them a result, putting his car in the second row. Yes, Martin's next to each other, and Cobble moving his way up into the field. P12. Panda was talking about his rookie campaign earlier. We'll see what he can do on this lap. Down on it a bit. A bunch of drivers have now cracked 1:10, and Jonah only improves by a 10.5. Diner goes absolutely crazy, and Jonah's AI coming straight back on the track, cutting the entire thing, and joining on the racing line. How nice of his AI. Not a great look. Just drive your car around back to the pit lane, but everyone finishing their laps. Diner flipping with NASCAR to take pole, and will Toasty, what will he do on his final lap here, his 1 lap that he's ran this session? Good enough for 3rd, almost 2nd, so he will take that. Henry goes into the pits, Cobble into the pits as well, and Diner 2 qualifyings, 2 poles, but did not convert the pole. Not even pole to points. So anything can happen here, and he's going to pit. Okay, we've got plenty of time. I'm going to go grab a glass of water while we wait for the start in the formation lap. And I'll be back. But here's your results. I'll scroll through them a bit. And we'll see how it shakes out. The Haas pair split up a little bit more in the feature quali. Jonah down in 7th. He was one of the title favorites and now has kind of lost his footing in some of these qualifying sessions, just gotten a bit unlucky, so needs to find maybe a stroke of luck here in the feature race, and we've got plenty of laps, plenty of storylines to unfold. And there is your qualifying results, and I will be back for the start of the race. Alrighty, back just in time here for the start. Looks like we have some rain, so getting cloudy at the end of the qualifying was not just random, as we see everyone on the intermediate tires. We'll see if it gets dry or if we're going to have a wet race. Go on board with Toasty in P3, see the getaways here. NASCAR on the inside looking for a good start. They're winning the sprint race, and here we go. A wet start here in the feature race. Netherlands on the way, and Mini-C holding position, everyone being a bit cautious, and don't think anything crazy is happening. We see some people flipping positions, and Mini-C just got hit pretty hard here as he's side by side still. And there it goes. Mini C all the way down the field. And that's exactly what happened in the sprint for him. Looks like we're going to have wet weather the entire race here. It's got inter-to-inter strategy. So this race is not drying up anytime soon. Jonah up 3 spots. We're going to see who the master of the weather is here. As you can see the great track graphics. It looks so bad until the drivers come across. We did have a bit of rain in Canada. So that's something that you could compare, I guess. But every track is very different when it starts to rain. And so the drivers are going to have to be careful. And someone went off into the gravel there. I think that was an Aston Martin Cabrito. And he is losing a couple spots. Has lost 3 spots now. Fade F4 as well, all the way down here. And Zeiser once again in the gravel. Will we ever catch him in a spot where he's out of the gravel? I'm not sure. But the top 3, Diner, NASCAR, and Toasty. Not far behind, though, is Jonah trying to avenge that DNF in 4th place currently. Eli also looking for a good result. Him and Dr. B both racing hard. Joseph behind them. And Henry Minicy has retired into the pits. I cannot blame him after what happened in the sprint race. And now basically living the same nightmare after a better qualifying. It just isn't worth it. And who knows, the rain could have helped him in some ways, but it did not look like it helped him at all, as he was the first driver to have an incident, losing 16 spots and now out of the session. A sad result for Mini C and Alpine alike. Got some racing up here, and we've got quite the gap. The top 4 spreading out from the field. You can see on the mini-map, it's groups of 4 practically throughout the entire field. The top 2 in a bit of a closer group. I mean, look at that group of 4, and then followed by that group of 4 is Joseph. Getting a little bit of elbows out here and leaving the door open for Henry. Side-by-side action here. Unconventional part of the track, and Henry decides better of it. Drivers still trying to familiarize themselves with the wet conditions. And this race is going to take forever. This weekend in general being a sprint weekend with wet weather, it is probably going to feel like it's dragging on. NASCAR hanging in there with Diner up at the front. And Jonah staying with Toasty here. The battle for the last podium spot. As you can see, all the leaders from the helicopter shot. We'll see if Jonah can get by and unleash some of that pace. But yet to be seen, as Toasty has stayed put in 3rd. NASCAR and Diner setting the fastest laps. Maybe the track is drying out a bit. Doesn't look to be raining too hard as we cobble Cabrito and Fate F4 down here. Fate F4 with a great sprint race, but has not been able to replicate that so far in the feature. Could be a setup thing as well. Jonah really close here to Toasty, but nothing really doing. Fade F4 and Cabrito close by, but nothing going for them on cobble. Jonah creeping in. NASCAR might be looking for a move here, but no DRS to assist him. And Diner gets a good getaway, and now it's going to be hard to make any kind of move here down the start-finish straight. Is getting a bit of slipstream, but not a lot, as Diner is a little bit worse off on battery here. And Jonah right behind Toasty, but just cannot get by him, and is losing time as he stays behind him for a bit. Has lost about a second. I think Toasty had started about 2 seconds behind NASCAR. Don't think for the lack of them battling it out per se, but I also think that NASCAR and Diner have absolutely picked up the pace, and they are flying out front, the two of them, creating a big gap here. All the drivers in the top 10 have moved up positions or have stayed equal. No one has lost a position until you see 11th place, and mostly due to Mini C starting in 3rd and then giving everyone a free position as he was not able to get through the first lap. Oh my goodness. That is a McLaren into the gravel. No, not a McLaren. A Williams with their orange Golf livery. It's hard to distinguish sometimes. And now everyone in the top 13 hasn't lost a spot. Oh my goodness. Golden and Cobble battling. Cobble gets pushed out of the way. Lets Cabrito through. And no real positions have been flipping so far. Panda is up 5 spots, so maybe we'll stick on board with him a little bit, but we see this battle going on, and both these drivers doing a little bit of Tokyo drift. Cabrito absolutely sending it and getting a clean overtake. Not about with a 3-second time penalty. Oh, the Ferrari almost making contact with the Golden. Cobble in the middle of this train here as Golden drifts out. Now Cobble beaching himself on the outside curb. He's going to be, should be under attack, but Fade F4 not able to get the car moving. So here's Henry attacking Joseph, and this is quite a battle too. Oh my goodness, there's a bit of contact here. Panda looking for a way through now, side by side with an Autobot. Is not going to find it, and Jonah has finally gotten past Toasty. Missed the overtake, wasn't sure it was ever going to happen, and Jonah is now 5 seconds away from the top 2. And oh my goodness, Toasty losing positions. What happened? He lost yet another position and has lost almost 4 seconds to Jonah. So Toasty not only losing out on the podium, but losing out nearly on the top 5 now, and is now fed to the wolves as he is in quite a big train that doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. Diner is pumped in the fastest lap. We have a caution in Sector 2. Where is it at? Sector 3, can't find it. Not-A-Bot and Cabrito still side by side going into the start-finish straight. Not-A-Bot getting the worst of that on the outside, getting shoved to the curb. And Fade F4 looks like he has a ton of speed. NASCAR passing. Oh my goodness, what are we watching here? Fade F4 passing him on the grass. Oh my goodness, Not-A-Bot Kamikaze slams. Oh, Diner is disconnected. what did I just watch? What did I just watch? Not about absolutely misjudging the braking and slamming Golden out of there, who was able to recover quite well. But yeah, now Not about has taken himself down into 17th. And Toasty has lost, well, hasn't lost another position. Eli has gained that, but Dr. B right behind him. And now Diner, without being a human car, I don't think. No. Being a ghosted car, he is absolutely losing a ton of time. We'll try and get him an invite as quick as we can. But yeah, NASCAR has now made up 3 seconds, pumped in the fastest lap, and Jonah now gaining. It's been a story of internet for Diner, as he has disconnected before. It was in Canada, and he was able to rejoin. Was it in Canada, or was it? It was in COTA. He was able to rejoin as he had such a large lead, losing 5 seconds. Didn't even matter as he retook the wheel and gained about 2 seconds back. So he has joined and has avoided the disqualification, but it doesn't mean that he has not lost valuable time, as he's basically dropped 5 seconds to NASCAR within the span of maybe a lap and a half of this race. So interesting story towards the front now, 5.7. So I think he's looking for a good spot to take control of the car, I think. Doesn't look like he is in control of it yet. Definitely still a ghost. And there, now back into control. I wouldn't have expected he did that in the chicane section, but now has to drive a little bit in his mirrors, if he wasn't already with NASCAR up there. But now it's just a different livery behind, as the Mercedes of Jonah is now out of his mirrors. First car to pit off the intermediates, and is he going to be going on the dry tires maybe? Might be something to see. Yes, onto the hard tires. So the first driver off the wet tires and now onto the dry tires, and we'll see who follows along. AWS completely wrong on the strategy. It looks like people are starting to lose the car, and yeah, everyone taking note, pitting for the hard, maybe able to make it to the end of this race. 26 laps to go. We'll see how long those hard tires last. Boss on the medium tires, likely going to pit again. Blackout getting a 10-second speeding in the pit lane time penalty here. And the last other drivers making it around the circuit on their wet tires, and we'll see how much the undercut pays off for Jonah, who is behind about a second on Diner. Is he going to decide to pit? It definitely looks dry enough to do that, and it looks like it would be the obvious decision for everyone still at the top of the grid. I think if someone does not pit, they are going to lose out on a ton of time, and NASCAR does not pit. I think everyone else behind him should. Doctor, another one who did not pit. Eli, a 10-second time penalty as people are wall riding into the pit lane. Cabrito in, and Golden and Cobble should be in themselves, and they stay out for absolutely no reason. Okay, so let's see just how much time. Oh, well, oh my goodness, this is the rejoin. DRS has been enabled, so Jonah not gaining a lot of time, honestly. He was a second away and lost time by pitting 1 lap too early. What happened? What am I looking at? Notabot is around. Blackout's around. I don't know what is happening. Still, and 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane for Notabot. That is likely his race just over, unless a safety car. We will see, but Oh my goodness. What a helicopter view we got of that. As Toasty looking to get by, and 10-second time penalty for Doctor. Everyone getting a 10-second time penalty. NASCAR out on the mediums. Did the overcut end up working here? We'll see. And yeah, he has quite the gap. So the overcut actually the better strategy. Even seeing DRS enabled. Maybe one lap too much on the overcut, but Diner creating a gap from himself from Jonah and working his way back into that gap of NASCAR, who did pit for the medium, so an interesting choice. Jonah with a 3-second time penalty. That is not going to be good for his race. That would put Toasty above him currently, but if Toasty would need to hang around the DRS of Eli. Joseph and Henry going at it side by side. Good racing so far. Henry still there, giving each other plenty of space now. Who has the DRS? Henry has the DRS as he starts the corner pretty much in the front, but was behind at the detection point, and now Joseph doesn't look like he's going to have enough pace to really make a move in the start-finish straight. Toasty with the fastest lap, passing Eli. And yes, Henry stays ahead for this lap. The Kick Saubers, double points so far. The Haas, the Mercedes as well. We've got a caution, and someone is completely off the track. It is blacked out in deep into the gravel, and he has now been lapped. It's going to be interesting to see how these mediums hold up against the hard tires. I would honestly think that, the hard tires are the obvious choice, but we'll see if the mediums can hold up or if he's trying to do a two-stop for some reason. Three-second time penalty for Boss, the fastest lap for NASCAR, as Notabot is trying to dive down his inside and unlap himself. So no, this is not a race for first. Oh my goodness. Eli flying down the inside, Doctor around on the outside curb there, and yeah, just kind of lucky to keep the car under control. This Panda now must have had damage as he pits. And is now going to send him all the way down the order. So that might be Panda's race over due to, unless we see a safety car. Notabot and Blackout have been lapped, so it's nearly impossible for them to get back in the race unless they can unlap themselves in the first, basically in lap with a safety car. If we see one. So far, so good. No safety cars. Probably should have been a couple, but we'll leave that to the Michael Massey of F125. Not sure how a car being DNF 2 inches from the track at one of the highest speed parts of the track wouldn't warrant a safety car, but what do I know? Doctor and Eli once again going at it. Elbows out a bit. And Doctor gets the best of Eli, and he is off. We will check the penalties. As Jonah still has that 3-second time penalty. Dr. B and Eli both have a 10-second time penalty, so they need to stop battling and start saying, well, we both got 10 seconds, so we really need to run away from Henry and Joseph and Bala before we really need to battle ourselves. And another caution here. So it looks like, I don't know who stopped. I think it might be Blackout once again. So the DRS train has fanned out. Toasty is right on the back of Jonah, as it was reverse in the wet weather. And Jonah just cutting through the grass and giving up this position. Okay. Not what I was expecting, but that's going to be one of the easiest overtakes you'll probably see. Just drive on the racing line and get this place. This is a scary sight for NASCAR as well in first. To be losing time to a driver on the hard compound tires while you are on the medium tires. As Panda sets the fastest lap on the medium tires, but is so far behind, I don't think he's going to be able to make it back to the points without some safety car help or maybe a couple different incidents. But with the field spread the way that it is right now, I don't think you're going to see too many cars around. I think this is pretty much the closest battle we have. Jonah and Dr. B as well closing in on each other. Joseph defending hard down the inside. Bala looking for a switchback, cutting it in aggressively. Just did not have the speed there. And there's Blackout. Ferraris flipping spots. 13th and 14th. Cobble ahead of Boss. Boss on the medium tires. Oh, and Bala touching the grass and losing the car immediately as he is off the track and back on as Fate F4 is going to coast up behind him. Just out of DRS for now. So quite the mistake there from Bala. No damage, but just going absolutely sideways. Cobble's turn to attack Golden here. He was going extremely aggressive and bottoming out his car on that inside curb. Touching the inside curb again. And is he going to be able to make the move on the outside? No. But not the best defense from Golden. Had an opportunity if he just trusted himself and took the racing line. Golden eating the curb now, leaving some gaps, but no. Cobble not being as aggressive as you probably could with some of the gaps that Golden has left. Now going to be right behind him through Sector 2, which is practically impossible to pass in. Now into the DRS zone. That doesn't help you overtake. Diner is now within DRS. His AI lost him 5 seconds and it took him 10 laps to get 4 of those back. Cobble with a better exit this time. Oh my goodness, both drivers nearly losing the car around the banking. Trying to find it around the outside, nothing going. And Cobble once again thwarted by the defensive effort of Golden. Toasty did get by Jonah and Dr. B now in this battle. A little bit of a three-way battle here for the last podium position, and then 9 seconds the top two are away from third. I think Diner just picked the correct tire, could be the difference here. Oh, and there goes Dr. B sliding out in the background. Into the gravel he goes. I just don't think the medium tires are going to be able to hold up to the end of this race. Diner maybe made a mistake there. He's now second instead of a half second. Funnily enough, Notabot still right behind them. So Notabot has the pace of the leaders, just as a lap down. Oh my goodness. Diner nearly dies. And a big desync moment there. And is now 2.5 seconds behind. So, I mean, NASCAR just needs to save his tires, but also just focus on not making any mistakes. And Diner's the one that has to get the overtake done and push into the dirty air. But again, if you're NASCAR, if you just pick the hard tires, you feel a lot safer right now in this race than you do on 9-lap-old medium tires. And this is about the crossover point in the sprint race towards the end of that 12-lap sprint, where the hards were a bit better. So I think the hards without pitting are going to be hurting at the end of this race, let alone mediums even thinking about making it to the end. But we'll see what all the drivers do, and maybe someone comes in early off the hard tires. You never know. Or there's just a safety car, and that just screws everything over. The field spread is nice and wide. And NASCAR just absolutely ruined his own race. A 10-second speeding in the pit lane penalty as he takes off the medium tires early, is going to have to fight his way back into the race. I don't think the 10-second speeding in the pit lane penalty is going to be that bad, because he had a 9-second gap. It's just about what is the strategy from everyone else. Like, I think Diner could have put on another set of mediums. Not Diner. NASCAR could have put on another set of mediums, but I think NASCAR must be expecting everyone else to pit as we have a driver off the track. And now a safety car, I mean, absolutely obliterates NASCAR strategy here. We've seen a lot of cautions, but no sign of the safety car yet. Toasty and Jonah promoted to a podium position. And Diner running away from Notabot's Ghost, who has been in his mirrors since the time that he got lapped. Now NASCAR going to have to make his way through the field on much fresher tires. Should be able to get the move done here, but we will see. Still trying to warm up those tires. And bump drafting Eli through the final corner, and Jonah gets another 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oh, that wasn't another. That was just his first. So 40 seconds of penalties for drivers who are in scoring position. That is going to be a huge player for someone that, might be sitting in 11th looking for a point. You might think you're out of the race, and then all of a sudden you're getting into the point scoring places. I don't know. I think this is a smart undercut from NASCAR. Now he can definitely make it to the end of the race. The medium strategy, if the hards can make it to the end, wasn't the right call. But we've seen drivers pit off the hards. So if it's a two-stop strategy and he made the mediums practically last as long as the rest of the hards have, I think it's been a good strategy call, other than not slowing down enough into the pit lane. But now, with 12 laps to go, I mean, Diner could stick it out and see how far he can make it last. Especially with 10 seconds now to work with. There's not a lot of risk here as Henry goes into the pits. And honestly, this is one of the few times we can pull up this stops chart and actually get information from it. A couple drivers have stopped twice. A lot of the drivers towards the back have stopped twice. Blackout stopped 3 times. But yeah, a lot of drivers on different strategies here, and the field spread looking even worse. But in all honesty, I mean, when a race doesn't have a safety car or anything, yeah, that's what happens. NASCAR, the only driver down positions in the point scoring spots. And Diner does box. Now let's see, where does NASCAR come out? Is he going to be able to run? Is Diner going to pick the medium tire, which I think would be a good idea? Diner still in the pits, and this is going to be a decent sized gap here. And let's see what the tire of choice was. It is the medium tire. He's got 7 seconds. So a net 3 seconds, but you never know. He could find himself in a penalty. Bala is put on the soft tires. Not sure what that's about. But Toasty and Dr. B still lead this race. Dr. B with a 10-second time penalty. Toasty might just be able to make it to the end here if he hangs it out. And is able to just stay in front, keep the drivers behind. Even if he is hemorrhaging time, he's got a 10-second cushion, which if he pits now, it's going to be behind. Logan is actually not streaming Tier 1. He is out tonight, so I'll have to go link those streams to the official stream. The NASCAR keeping the gap to Diner so far. Henry with the fastest lap. Caution in Sector 1, it's a Ferrari. Looks like it's Boss who lost a position and might be losing another one. And Toasty and Dr. B deciding to pit. Dr. B going to serve his penalty. And now Diner and NASCAR, the top two, just like it was before. And NASCAR actually with the better strategy. The issue is, he now has a 10-second time penalty. So, not doing him any favors, and that also doesn't help. Sliding straight into the gravel. And if ghosting wasn't on, he would have absolutely destroyed Diner. But now this is Diner's race to lose as he gains the position and is going to have a 10-second gap to work with. Toasty is looking to be net P2 right now with all the penalties that Jonah... Well, did Jonah serve this penalty? No. So yeah, Toasty net P2 relatively comfortably, but he does need to work his way back into DRS here. And then Joseph, I don't think, is going to get any positions, but top 5 here for both Haas drivers. Henry doesn't want to make that happen. He wants a double top 5 for the Kick Sauber drivers. So huge points could go the way of the Haas and the Kick team. Fade F4 driving hard now that it is a dry track. Was struggling in the wet, but is back into the points. Cobble getting by Golden. We were watching that try to happen. Oh, Golden is in the pits, must be. Yeah. I literally have no idea what strategy everyone is on. It's all different. Everyone has stopped 2 to 3 times. Bala is now sideways once again. I think I've seen every car go sideways. Let's check on Zeiser, make sure he's out of the gravel. Okay, good on him. Toasty getting by Formula Jonah, even though it doesn't really matter. NASCAR taking the position here on Diner. Henry still looking for that top 5, battling Joseph up at the top. Oh my goodness, I thought that was going to end up a lot worse. Cabrito looked like he was absolutely too late on the brakes, but somehow nothing came of it. Bala into the pits, decided those soft tires could not hang on anymore. NASCAR retakes the lead, but still with that 10-second time penalty. I wonder if anyone's going to have any successful appeal. But speeding in the pit lane penalties, I think only one has been overturned. And unless it is painfully a glitch by the game and we see green, it is not happening. And oh my goodness, NASCAR from bad to worse as he battles it out for the position and now is losing a lot more than just the position on track. And now, oh my goodness, contact with Toasty. Absolute short wiring from NASCAR down to 4th. And Toasty and Formula Jonah going side by side now. Toasty on the inside is going to get the move done. He doesn't have penalties either, so he really doesn't have to worry. He just needs to keep it out of the wall. And just like that, NASCAR and Jonah are losing positions to Joseph and Henry, who now are thinking, oh, well, you wanted a double top 5. Well, let's just both get a double top 5. The Haas team both one position in front of the Kick Saubers. And if this is the end result, I think Haas is going to pole vault their way up the constructors, as Mercedes was the team closest to them and only is going to be scoring 15 points compared to maybe not even 15, as now NASCAR makes the move. 12 points, might lose two more positions, so 8 points compared to, I mean, Haas could be leaving this weekend with 40. The feature race has, wouldn't say has been tame, but no safety cars. We're getting to the point almost where the safety car won't come out. Here's the tire choices. A couple drivers on the hards, most ending on the mediums. Probably nearly losing the car there. And they're looking for points with Eli quite far up the road. No huge battles here in the final couple laps. Sizer and Boss, honestly, the closest drivers together. Diner running away with this race. These drivers battling it out, but really not for much. They're all close to each other. I wouldn't think that anyone is going to put a massive send on the other one. Sizer. Battle for 16th. It's Boss here. Every position counts in the President's Trophy. 20-1 scoring. So every position counts for your team. It's a weighted scoring system, so Tier 1 is weighted heavier than Tier 3. But every point matters, as we've seen some standings end up being by even a quarter of a point. So every position counts. Every little battle matters. And seeing another one here. Oh my goodness. I think that's blackout in the middle of everything. The ghosted car. I thought that was a real car, and I was going to be very concerned that someone was getting smashed into. Has to be quite distracting for Henry here. The ghost car right in him. Only a couple more laps to go and no real battles here. Golden now outside of DRS. The only couple drivers that are in DRS are towards the top. Not much for me to say. Throw up the positions changed, and that's your race. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it was a clean conversion of pole to win for Diner. At least it's looking pretty certain that he will, but he gets the job done. Looks like a moment for Joseph. Under attack a little bit, and it's starting to rain. We've got this lap and one more to go, and I think drivers are going to be having to be very careful on their old tires in the drizzle here. Yeah, you can see some of the rain droplets come down. I think for the most part, drivers should be okay, but this definitely could be something. Yeah, not the cleanest conversion. Disconnecting for about 2 laps and losing 5 seconds, then coming back, and yeah, you can see the rain is impacting these last couple laps, and we're going to have one more lap, so not really worth stopping for intermediate tires. But yeah, Toasty able to be penalty free as well as Diner, and NASCAR with the 10-second time penalty really cost him the race. A mistake into the gravel probably changes the way he races if he didn't have a 10-second time penalty. Probably doesn't race that aggressively, but went for it and cost himself position on the track. We've got a caution in sector 3. Looks like it cleared up quickly. Well, for the most part, I mean, we had our couple battles, but no safety cars, no real crazy strategies by anyone. Just kind of intermediates and then to the hard medium or the medium hard. And that's what the drivers have done today. No one able to one stop here in the Netherlands. Got to be very careful in these track conditions. Jonah looks like he had quite a mistake here. And NASCAR also around on top of penalties. The track is getting wet towards the very end. This would be a very interesting race if there was, 4 or 5 more laps to go. That's not the case, and the Haas driver of Diner is going to get to the line and take home the win in the feature race. DRS is disabled. Toasty in P2. NASCAR coming across the line in P3, but he should lose out this podium position to Doctor as long as Doctor keeps it clean around the banking. Here he comes to the line. And yes, he is going to take the final podium position. Jonah looks like he's out of gas. And it could be very much the case. Henry takes top 5, and Joseph, after that mistake, is going to be down. Eli in 6th. Joseph still should get this position. So does Fade F4. Jonah all the way down to 9th place, 10th place, as Cabrito takes the position. So 16 seconds of penalties knocks Jonah all the way down. Mercedes finished 10th and 11th. Cabell in 12th. Bala 13th, and Zeiser into the gravel. A fitting way to end the race. A fitting way. And below Zeiser, who have already finished, Golden, Frenchie, Boss, Notabot, and Blackout. Able to avoid the DNFs like we saw in Baku. What an eventful weekend. Now we won't have a sprint race for pretty much the rest of the season. Just one more, and I think it comes in the last month of the calendar. So now it's just the grind of the season. You know what's coming pretty much for the rest of the year. And there's no real shakeups in the middle of the grid as we see the point spread for this week. Then we will check the race results. But yeah, no real shakeup in the middle of the season, so you can kind of expect to the points for each team. There's not going to be one weekend that could make or break your season later down the road. It's really just going to be, the first month of racing here, the first 4 weeks where you had 2 sprints and you really get off to a head start. And I mean, Haas is going to have quite the target on his back for the rest of the season after scoring 38 points this weekend. Will anyone be able to catch them? Dr. B helping Williams out with 21, certainly. And the Kicks both finishing respectively, scoring over 20 points. But you'd love to see that a little bit more later in the season. I've contemplated putting 4 sprints in the calendar. Have never done it. And honestly, I should just start doing that because we did have a season that had 18 races instead of 16. So a lot of the records are from that 18 race season of most points in a season. But that was back when we had one tier. So the tier 2 and tier 3 record books are still intact and aren't skewed by an 18 race season. But I pulled it up on the next track so that I wouldn't forget. Next week is in Australia. So we will see a race there, not a sprint race. Should be pretty much 2 months of the normal 50% races. But again, as I always say, I appreciate you all tuning in. Missed my partner Pizza today, but hopefully he'll be able to join next week. We'll see what he says. But a great race, some great action as always in Tier 3. And thank you for watching, and hope to see you again next week in Australia. Have a great rest of your night.